very good evening. 3 rogue builders who bragged about conning a man in his 80s out of thousands of pounds have today been sent to prison. Matty Rossiter, who's 18, his brother James Rossiter, who's 25, and Dean Smith, aged 21, pleaded guilty to fraud charges after targeting 18 properties and 20 victims across the West Country. Martin Jones has our report.
As you can see, we're doing some roofing work here. We're doing some bodging.
It doesn't get much more brazen than this.
What we're doing is we're in some bungalows.
A gang of rogue traders admitting they're bodging on camera.
And as you can see, the guy who we're working for, he's really old.
Matty Rossiter, his brother James and friend Dean Smith would often knock on elderly people's doors, tell them their roofs needed repair and then overcharge. This house belonged to John Bray from Cairn. He was 82 when this was filmed. They charged him £8,500 and just replaced a few tiles. And they made this video mocking him.
Do you?
His son is furious.
I think they're despicable. They made a video laughing and joking, filming my dad and insulting him from the roof while they were just making more damage. And to me, that's completely despicable.
When the 3 rogue traders called at John's door, his wife was still alive. The family believe the stress of being taken in contributed to her death.
The feelings that my parents had, the shame and embarrassment, and the fact that my mum took that feeling to her grave, because it wasn't much after that she passed in December, and that's the worst part, and that's what we need to stop these people from doing.
Sadly, Steve and John are far from alone. At Stuart Dye's house in Yate, they replaced just a couple of tiles and charged him £3,000 for less than a day's work. One of the tiles they did replace was stolen from his neighbour's roof. It was a similar story for Darren Collins. The Rossiters and Dean Smith did 3 hours' work and demanded £4,200. Their mental health suffered badly as a result.
Got depressed and got down about it. And the wife got really down. She started having to go to counselling and things like that on the back of this, because she just got so depressed and not trusted people, get down about it.
The trio used several company names depending on where they were working. The case against them involved unnecessary and overpriced work at 18 properties, with customers defrauded of a total of £45,000. A chartered surveyor who checked their work described it as abysmal, carried out with no attendant skill or competence, and probably without the use of appropriate hand tools. Wiltshire Trading Standards say they're the most prolific rogue traders they've ever dealt with.
It's devastating, to see it, to speak to these people is really upsetting. It's something, it's a part of the job that you take home when you see somebody that's lost their life savings. They've invested a lot of money that they've had, and their roof is in a worse condition than it was before these men came out in the first place. So, it's heartbreaking to see.
It's certainly been heartbreaking for John. Martin Jones, BBC Points West.
Well, Emma Carroll from Wiltshire Trading Standards, who you just saw in that report, joins us now. Emma, this was a horrible case, as it said in the report, so brazen, but it just keeps happening as well, doesn't it? So what's your advice to people this evening who might be worried that they could be targeted?
The primary piece of advice I would give anyone is do not engage with cold callers. Reputable businesses do not knock on the door touting for work. These types of rogue traders will knock on the door because they see that, they target areas where elderly people live and vulnerable people live. And for example, in the case of Mr. and Mrs. Bray, they started off by saying that they'd spotted a loose roof tile, which they offered to fix for £45. And once they've got a way in, they will find other work that needs doing so that the price just escalates.
That's right. It seems so reasonable. And of course, although we've seen that they're brazen, they're filming themselves, they're filming Mr. Bray, actually, you spoke to a lot of the people who came across them. I'm sure at first they seem, not just them, but rogue traders, very genuine, very knowledgeable.
They are. They appear as charming, professional. They will get people on side. They can be very nice. They can be very trustworthy, or they appear to be very trustworthy. And particularly with roofs and elderly people, older people can't get up on the roof to check any damage out for themselves. So if somebody says they've gone past and they've seen something, people want it fixed quickly.
You put the message out there, don't you? But if somebody is worried, where can they turn? Because there are tools that people can use, aren't there?
There are tools. First of all, we would say if you're looking for a business, ask friends and family, ask them to recommend businesses that they've used themselves and that they know are reliable. Don't rely on recommendations that are posted on social media pages, because often people are just recommending friends' businesses rather than businesses that they've actually used themselves. Do some research online, check reviews, check references. We do have a scheme called Buy with Confidence, where any businesses in that have been audited and checked by trading standards. If you can't find a business on Buy with Confidence, then look for a business which is a member of an association which offers an arbitration scheme. For example, the Confederation of Roofing Contractors.
Okay, and don't panic always seems to be often said, but it's true, isn't it? If somebody says you've got to get that fixed now, don't panic.
No, don't be rushed into making a decision. Don't hand over any money. Don't pay cash, and get 2 or 3 quotes, and make sure that before any work starts that you've got a quote in writing with a breakdown of the work to be carried out, the price that you're going to be paying, and ensure that you've got the trader's full name and address. I mean, in this case, the traders were using false addresses, so it made it very difficult for them to go back to the businesses when things were wrong, when things went wrong.
Well done for getting them.
No, and if a company is limited, you'll be able to find details of that company on Companies House website. If it's not a limited company, then you need to make sure you have the full name of the person that's carrying out the work, not just their trading name.
Okay, that's really useful advice. Emma Carroll, thank you so much, and well done on all the work that led to this conviction.
Thank you, Alex.
Full admiration.